So I wanted to do a video on the knives I've carried, and this bill is here just a size reference. I'm not gonna measure each one because that would take too long. It's gonna be a pretty lengthy video as it is, and I'm gonna try to keep it pretty short. But it's quite a bit of knives. So each one of these knives that I'll show I've had for at least a year. I've carried it for at least a year, and then before I switched on to the next one. And no real reason in particular from switching one to another. Well, there is. I mean, I guess there is some, but not a huge reason. I've used them all basically the same. Just general cutting tasks. Nothing too crazy. So I'll start. So the first one I had for a really long time was this is a Buck 186C. And there's some rust on there. I had to get rid of. It's been sitting in a drawer for a while. So the type of lock this has is a liner lock. They're not really like that strong, but I've never had any problems with it. Like I said, I don't really do anything crazy with them with the knives I carry. It's a sturdy knife. I mean, sturdy knife, and it's you can feel it has a good heft to it. It's the whole back is solid. It's just like a piece of metal there holding the sandwiched between the two scales, and has a little hole there to thumb open the knife. The shape of the blade is it's a nice shape. It's mostly like you'd mostly use the tip for any cutting task, and you can even put your finger up here, choke up on a little bit if you want to do anything like a little bit more precise. And then the clip too. The clip's really long clip. Never had any problems with it like coming out or starting to slip out or nothing like that. It's a tip down carry, and I like that not much of it shows when you are carrying it. Just a comparison to the bill there. So the next one, I did some research, and I think the metal on this is 154 cm, I think, which is good steel. But I started like looking into blade steels, and found this knife, which I carried for probably like 2 years, 3 years maybe or more, quite a bit of time. And so this is it's a Benchmade Skirmish. It's an S30V. When this came out, it was a pretty new steel. It was about the best you could get at the time, I think. This is a frame lock, stronger than a liner lock, and it's titanium. The scales are titanium. The back, it's basically it's open. Just has these little studs to hold it together. And love the blade shape. So this one, when you cut, it basically uses the belly here. So when you're cutting something, you can see the difference. It's the belly that you're using instead of the tip for this one. Put it down there, and then for this one, it's basically the belly. Same thing. It has a hole for your thumb to open it. And it sits really low in the pocket, tip down too. So basically, this much is showing when you have it in your pocket. And also like the feeling in the hand, the curved part here goes nice in your palm. Has a little part for your thumb. And it's just a very aesthetically pleasing knife. Had it for a long time. I had some problems with this one just because I used this for so long. Had some things happen to had this bend a couple times on me, and I just basically just bent it back into shape. The metal didn't fatigue. It still works fine. Still nice and grippy. So had to bend it back like maybe 3 times. And but yeah, never had any problems with this knife. But after some time, I started looking into. I found out about Cold Steel, and I just really like their knives. And I mean, and just the next ones you're gonna see from now on, apart from when I would carry two knives, are basically Cold Steel knives. And I'm not gonna be able to put them all here on this table, but I'll leave as many as I can. So again, I found out about Cold Steel, and then the next knife I got, which is super nice. I mean, in my opinion, is the Espada. So here it is closed. It's a big knife. I mean, it's I love the wave function, and this is more now when I decided to have a knife. These are all utility knives. This one was a little bit more for like self protection too, I guess. I mean, you can use it can fall under that category too. Self protection and just a utility knife too. But this can work very well as a self protection knife. And you can use it for utility too. So big knives, you probably heard this before. People say this before. You can do a lot of things with a big knife that you can't do. I mean, a big knife can do a lot of the things a small knife can, but a small knife can't really do much of what a big knife can do. If that makes any sense. So I'll go over it a little bit. So this has a triad lock, which I have a lot of faith in. So liner lock, it's okay. Frame lock is a little bit better. This is probably the best in my opinion. From just looking up stuff and just you're doing some research and stuff. I don't put these through any abuse, but just people who have just watching, seeing their results. I have a lot more faith in this lock than any other knife. So this is a so once again, Cold Steel Espada, but this is the model that has let me see. I think it's the one that has these. I mean, the ones I've carried, they're some of them are dirty because every now and then I'll carry them for a while again, put them back, and then just oil them and leave them. I won't just completely clean them. This, from what I remember, is a CTX HP. I think. I'm not too sure, but I think actually the one that has CTX HP should say it. So this might be an Oz 8 knife. So I like Oz 8. I mean, in general, it's good, but it rusts like super quick. I haven't had problems with this one, so I'm not too sure what this metal is. But just in comparison, the ergonomics are really, really good. I mean, it's basically the shape of this handle is like to fit your hand perfectly, and then when you put your hand when you try to reach out a little bit further, it's this little bump here keeps your hand in place. It doesn't feel like your hand's gonna slip at all. So very happy with this knife. But the only problem I had with it, so even though it's a really big knife, this is one of the things I like. But I'll get to it's a segue to the problem. So only this much shows when you have it in your pocket, and I wear regular like Levi jeans and stuff. But so only this much shows, which is a plus, and then you can wave it out. This catches on your pants. This little thumb stud catches on your pants, and it opens up. It and that works fine. Everything works fine. The only problem is, this is so smooth. This right here, that you only have this much sticking out. So you put your whole hand into your pocket, and then it's just too smooth for my taste. If I'm gonna try to wave this thing out, I'd rather have a little bit more texture, or more space to grab onto. But the what I really like about it is that nobody really knows you have a big knife, unless it prints on your pocket, in your pocket, but it doesn't really. So here's a comparison. I'll put this over here. So to the $5 bill. So pretty big knife. I think it's 5.5 inches, the blade, maybe 5. So after that, well, once I got this, because this is kind of a ridiculous knife to pull out to use in public if I had to, and sometimes you do, just to open packages or something. So I started carrying this with it, and this is a Camillus Demo knife. So throughout this is basically, I only change up this knife, this pocket knife later on for another one. I'll show you that one too. But I've used this for like a super long time. This is it's a Camillus Demo knife, and it's a 1972. If you can get the older ones are much nicer than the newer ones. And they'll have these little thumb studs too, the older ones, so you can pull out your screwdriver / can opener. I mean bottle opener. Can opener's on the other side. I mean this side right here. So actually I should go over this real quick. So has a can opener. Has an awl, and the awl works super nice. The ones on the newer ones, they're not as pointy, they're not as sharp. A huge difference in the new ones is the awl. So I might show you the difference in the future, but just older's better. That's usually how it comes down for almost everything. So yeah, so all can opener, bottle opener with a screwdriver end, and then just a regular blade. I chose this over the Victorinox. That's the other thing I was looking at when I was looking into this, because well, I like that it's all steel, and there's a Victorinox that's like aluminum and stuff, but I like that the screwdriver's pointy and kind of elongated. That was like a major thing. That, and it just looks a lot more solid for whatever reason. So this knife, so once I start getting to these crazy big knives, I carry this knife around, and the case is something I found in the flea market. So it just basically goes into this case here, and then when I pull it out, the little dangler thing, it's super easy to pull out. So I'll leave it here until later on I changed it. So the next knife, I should probably start closing these. Okay. So the next knife after that one was the Rajah, which it's an even crazier knife. Here's the size comparison. It's an even crazier knife, but I carried it out of curiosity. And I actually carried it for quite a bit of time. It's just if you ever have a chance to handle one of these, I I recommend it, like highly recommend that you do. It just feels like you're holding a hammer basically with a blade. It's very very well done. Here's the compared to that $5 bill. I'm gonna move these out of the way actually. Okay, so the Rajah 2, it has steel liners. I don't know if you can see that. See there on the inside. So these liners run throughout the both sides, both scales of the knife. It gives it a really nice heft to it. The blade shape, I don't know how it would be in piercing. It's a thick blade, but I guess it would be fine for piercing. The Espada is more for piercing than this one, but this general shape of blade with the heft, it's a crazy chopper. You can just feel it right from the get-go when you hold it. I still have the Oz 8, but I decided to bring this one because towards the end I was using this one. So I used the Oz 8 one. That was the first one that replaced the Espada. And after a while, this one came out, the BD1 steel. So CTS BD1 came out, and I replaced the Oz 8. It's basically the same thing, except the texturing. And then these, it's smooth here, and the Oz 8 version isn't. The texturing is different, and I think it just runs through. The texturing just runs through the whole thing. Now that I remember too, I mean, just as a cautionary tip, if you ever see these for sale, like on eBay and stuff like that, sometimes they have a lot of fake ones. One of the things that's kind of easy to tell if they're fake or not. I'm going off topic a little bit, but it's kind of something that bothers me every time I see one. So this screw will be huge in comparison on the ones for sale that are fake, like on eBay and stuff. And this is an easy way to tell too, easier way. This little screw here, see how here's a hole right here? When you flip it over, it's in a different place. See, so here's the hole, lanyard hole, and there's a screw. And then when you flip it over, see it's over here on this side, on this scale. So the fake ones, the ones I've seen, they'll have it in the same spot. So you'll see the lanyard hole, and just look at the screw, and it'll be exactly the same spot on the other side. I mean, it's not much of a difference in where they change it. But the real ones have a difference, and the fake ones don't. And then also this will be usually is like it looks flat, it looks more shiny, and it's a longer screw. Well, going back to topic. This whole handle sticks out quite a bit. And it's textured, so it's a crazy grip. I mean, when you grab it, and out of all the cold steel knives I've had, this wave function works the best. I think it's just the general shape of the knife, just because it's kind of curved, I guess. And then when you grabs on, it's just super easy just to have it to wave out. I only use this like on just I haven't used it much. I mean, usually what I carry, like, if I have this little knife around, and I have every time. So from now on, all these as soon as I got cold steel, I'll start carrying a secondary little knife just to pull out and use. But so I didn't really cut anything with these. I just had it as kind of like self-defense, but also in case you need a larger knife for certain things, like if you want to cut rope or something like that, or boxes. I mean, I wouldn't use this. It's kind of a pain to use this. And so the only problem I had with this is it sticks out quite a bit. So if you wear like Levi's, you still got like probably like half an inch maybe that goes that you have a pocket left, and when you put this in because of the clips, so they could have done it a little bit higher. And Levi's kind of so I have some other pants, and they all kind of seem to have the kind of the same depth, for me at least. So I guess they did it just so you can grab onto it a lot easier, and you know, and the texturing also helps a lot. So another problem is it's heavy. It is a heavy. I mean, it's a plus, but it's a negative too. So it's a heavy knife, but just the feeling of it. So just imagine you're holding a hammer with a blade on the end. So if you just grab a hammer, you kind of get an idea of how this feels. So very sturdy, triad lock. I have complete faith in this thing. I mean, and to do what I want it to do, if without it, you know, malfunctioning or closing on me. So from this one, carry that about a year. Each one's kind of about a year, probably half a year, depends. I switched to this one, which is, it's a lot lighter. I didn't like that it didn't have a weight function. But I put on this is called a snaggletooth. It's plastic. It's like a little plastic piece that basically does the weight function for you. So this thing is super light. It's just G10 scales. There's no metal insert or nothing like that, or liner. The back is aluminum, and it also has a triad lock, and it has a thumb opening. It originally comes just with a thumb opening. This is part of the snaggletooth one. It has like this, what is that, like a hexagonal? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So just with a thumb stud. This is so it's called a holdout 1, and it's the larger version. There's like 3 versions, and this one is so CTS XHP is the type of steel, which is really, really good. It's better than S30V. So I like the shape of this knife. That's the reason I got it. I got it because it's lightweight. It's basically the same size. It is the same size as the Rajah. It carries. It's like very deep in pocket, so you only see about this much. And the weight function on this, it doesn't work as well as this, but with practice you can get it to open, you know, when you want it to. You just really have to like push this whole top part, really push it into your pocket, and then so to make sure it catches. And the snaggletooth, for some reason, which I really like, is that because of these little divots, the jimping, snaggletooth goes like right into one of those little divots, which I like a lot. It's like super sturdy. So the blade is like very thin. It cuts like, out of basically all the knives I have, this is probably the one that cuts the easiest. Super thin, very crazy pointy, super sharp point. And the G10 is like very, very grippy. So I like this. I mean, I like it a lot. I just don't like that I had to put a snaggletooth on it for it to have a weight function. If they would have made one themselves, I think the weight function would work a lot better than the snaggletooth. I mean, it's just because they would have to like cut out a portion to where it would grab on even better for it. So only got 2 more, huh? Well, a few more actually. So from that, I I found another Espada, which is actually, it's grippy. Same thing. It doesn't show much when you have it in your pocket, and it's Oz 8. But this is one of the older ones. These are kind of hard to find. I love the blade shape on these. I'll show you the difference. So all newer models have like this really wide blade. And let me see if I can get it. Much wider. So I'm guessing they did that just for strength. You can add strength to something by making it thicker. So if it was thin, I mean, if it wasn't that wide, but it's thick, then you can I mean, you can make it strong that way, or you can make it thin, but also make it make it wider, and you can make it stronger that way. So if you add material this way, it becomes stronger. The same way it becomes stronger if you just make it thicker. So I think that's why they did this, because they're about the same thickness as a blade. So this one solved a lot of problems that this one had. I had with this one, I mean. So very smooth. And this is going to be contradictory later on. I'll show you the one I carry now. Very smooth. And this one's it's a lot more grippier. I mean, it's way more grippier. So no problems just pulling this out and having the wave function actually work fine. This one, I mean, when you pull it out, it just feels slippery. So, and I love the blade shape. So I like the blade shape better than this one. And it's Oz 8's okay. Same triad lock and same shape. But other than that, it feels a little bit. It feels a little bit kind of heavier for some reason. But it's this does have steel liners, but just from here, so you can see it, just from here to here, and there's jimping right here. So you can't see it from the inside. So it's just, they just added like these little inserts of steel liners just to add strength, which I like a lot. Just it makes it gives it a good heft. And these have aluminum. I think you would call it a liner too. Aluminum liners, the same as this. So this is milled out. I don't think I mentioned it. This is milled out aluminum. So from one piece, they mill it out from. Each scale is milled out from one piece, and then the inserts are G10. Super nice. I mean, you can see I've used it a lot. There's a lot of little scratches and stuff. This feels. Well, they're probably about the same weight. Even though this is, I guess, because it's aluminum, and then G10 does weigh a good amount, regardless. Even though it's not metal. Well, to carry, I mean, aesthetically speaking, this is a nicer knife. To carry, this is a much better knife in my opinion than this. Oh, and while I carried this one, I ended up switching this out to this knife. So this is a Kingston. It's the same thing, but I didn't even know these existed. So it's like the demo knife. Let me get the other one actually. It's like the Camillus. So this is a Camillus. This is a Kingston, and this one you can tell because it says the only place it has markings is on the, what is this called, lanyard loop or something. So it'll say Kingston right here. It's kind of faded. It's an old knife. Kingston, there you go. So the difference from these two is so this one is just made of like I think it's inox. It's just stainless steel basically, all of it. The scales are stainless steel, but everything else is carbon steel. And then it has brass liners, which look super nice. When I first got them, they were all dark, and just after I used this knife for a long time, they just got a lot of color to them. So the blade, it's been used a lot. I basically bought it this way, so I've only used this for like 2 years maybe. So here I'll just do a comparison. So here's basically the same size, and they're about the same shape too. I mean, if you see them brand new. And then so the awl on this one, not as pointy. Try to make this video not so long, but just want to show it while I have it here. So not as pointy. When they're brand new, this is still a little bit more pointy, but the thing is that these differ depending on the years. But it's also, I mean, these are still, they're if you look at it, it's curved. It's all nice and smooth and curved. And this one is same thing, but you can see there where they put an edge on the awl. This still has an edge, but they just curve the whole thing. It's just a nice touch. So then the little thumb stud for the bottle opener screwdriver. See, it's basically the same thing, same design, except it's just much nicer. This one is. It's the thumb stud is nice and rounded. This one is kind of pointy. Some people take these off too if they use them a lot, because if you don't have it'll tear things up basically, because it does have an edge to it, and this is nice and rounded, and there's like little, I don't know if you can see it. There's little lines there, so when you do grab onto it, it helps you. This one doesn't have anything. So same shape. I like this little pointy screwdriver part, and this can opener is crazy pointy. That's like the main difference. Shape wise, same thing, but just way pointier. I mean, on both ends, on this part and the top, just crazy pointy. And it doesn't have anything, like, it doesn't say like can opener on it like all of these do. If you get a Camillus Demo knife, they all say can opener. Okay, so I just started using this, and then the carbon steel, you can get it crazy sharp too. I mean, I mean, it feels like crazy sharp, and this just feels sharp. I don't know. It's just a weird way of explaining it, but that's the best way that comes to mind. So just a much nicer. I mean, everything looks super nice. The materials, I mean, just different materials. Carbon steel, brass liners, stainless steel scales, and this is all the same, just one single material for everything. This is just much nicer in my opinion. And one has U.S. Marine Corps. I haven't served. I mean, I never served in the Army or the Marines or anything like that. I mean, I'm glad there's people that do that go out there and do that. I mean, it's glad there's people like that. I mean, I'm glad there's people like that. But it's just there's a regular version that doesn't have this, and there's this version that has the marking. These feel just more sturdy. If you ever get the ones that are just like regular civilian versions, for whatever reason, I don't understand why, but they look the same and everything, but they just feel cheaper for some reason. These just feel just more well made. That's the reason I carry this. That's the only reason I do. So I'll leave this here. And now just the last knife I do carry. This is so it's a Rajah. I went back to Rajah, but it's a Rajah 1. And the blade material on the Rajah 2 that I have is better than this. This is Oz 8 again. It's BD1, the other one. So this is Oz 8. And but just the overall how it's made this is just, to me, it's just very, very aesthetically pleasing. Same thing. Feels like a hammer. It just feels a little bit more more weighted towards the top, just because of it doesn't have like metal liners all the way down. So this is also machined out of aluminum. It's all machined out of so I mean, I don't know if it's one piece, but both sides scales are aluminum with G10 scales. So I've been carrying this for a while now, a few months. And it's also slippery, but the reason I carry it is because it does stick out. You can still grab it regardless. So you can still grab this knife, even though it's basically the same materials as the Espada I showed. The only problem I have is that, I don't know if you can tell, all of this here is one of the rivets on my jeans basically touches it when I sit down. So if I sit down, it marks up the G10. So this is copper from the copper rivet that my jeans have, like right above the pocket. Other than that, I mean, this is like a very nice knife to carry. I mean, they're kind of hard to find, but they have the same thing. Triad lock, has a wave, opens just as good as the Rajah 2. And it's kind of a pride of ownership kind of deal. I mean, nobody really pays attention to what you carry. Just since you can even, and I've been doing this because I saw that the rivets like marking the G10. I just have it in my pocket, and it still shows this much, even though I'm not using the clip, and it pretty much stays where you want it. You can still grab it pretty easily. So let's say about this much. You can still grab it easily because of just where it sticks out. And if you really, really want, to have it, if you're just walking around, you're not going to sit down, I use the clip. So when I do sit down, that's what I meant to say. When I do sit down, I'll have it. I can just take the clip off. I mean, unclip it from my pants and then just put it in my pocket. So this, in conjunction with this, is what I've been wearing lately. Kind of ridiculous, but I don't know. I just like having something that's nice. And then just last, this is wow, this is getting this is getting to be a really long video, but last thing, and I won't go too much into this, just to show it to you. For work, so I wear it's a Bark River Aurora 2. It's a CPM 3V, and it's all dirty right now, but I mean, I use it every single day, like rain or shine or anything. And a lot of parts, it's like patining and stuff like that, but I don't really care. It's just I use it a lot. So I have a Kydex sheath for it, and I wrap this oh wow, I'm spacing out here, with a rope. This rope I use it scout carry, and what I do is I'll put my belt through these loops here. I don't use the middle one, so I'll just put my belt through these loops and then use it scout carry. This I put tape on here because it was wearing out my I use a vest a lot, and it was wearing out just the material on my vest. So So the only reason I put this rope on here is just so I can put these little loops here, so I can just scout carry with it. I still have the original sheath, but it's just much easier just to have it this way. So I use this scale. I use that for work, and then I'll carry that. And with that, I'll carry. I'll show you here the sheath. So I'll use same thing, just horizontal carry, and this is a surge, Leatherman surge. So this and this in conjunction. So if I gotta cut anything small or stuff like that, I'll use this. I use this for like anything. I mean, anytime I need a screwdriver, stuff like that. So I use this more than this, but this I'll cut things that, you know, like rope, branches, stuff like that. So anything that's like is a lot easier to do it with this, I'll use this instead. And then last blade. I use just for running. So for running, I don't use it that much, but I had so at local news, this was like about a few months ago, we had some sightings of mountain lions, and I live in the city. I mean, basically not close to the city, which is kind of weird to have mountain lions around. But there's other stuff. There's like coyotes and stuff like that. I mean, coyotes don't really do anything to you, but it's nice to have something just in case. And I've tried other knives. I used to just clip on a knife just to the shorts I have, and I'll run like 3-4 miles. So I need something just doesn't create a hot spot or nothing like that. So I did the sheath on this one. And what I carry is, it's a Spyderco. And oh wow, I forgot the name of this knife. Huh. So it's H1. This was like an afterthought to put this in. So it's made at H1. This is like a diver's knife. The main problem I had when I ran is basically having rust on the knife. So I would have to oil a knife every time I used it. And this, if you look up H1 steel, it doesn't rust. So my solution was basically to just have something that won't rust on me. So I'll go running. I have this, a fixed blade, just in case. I mean, I probably wouldn't put up much of a fight against the mountain lion, but peace of mind, I guess. And then I made this just to carry around my neck, so I'll put this underneath my shirt and just run with it. And it's just about the size for me that it's not too heavy or too big that it's cumbersome. It's just, it'll move around a little bit, but it's not much of a problem. Okay, well, hope this video wasn't too long. I don't really get comments, but just in case, if you want to see like more of an in-depth review of any of the knives I have, just let me know. Okay, bye.